Vinicius Jr. and Real Madrid will not be traveling to Paris for the Ballon d'Oro ceremony, as it's most likely going to be Rodri winning the Ballon d'Oro. It seems like the Copa America and the Euros were the biggest deciding factor in this outcome, which makes sense. We already know that international football holds a big weight when it comes to these kind of individual trophies. But before we get into Ballon d'Oro, before we get into the Premier League, La Liga, Liga MX, and everything in world football, make sure you guys subscribe, follow, check out the channel, help us grow. We recently hit 100 subscribers, so let's try to get 500 and then keep growing. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Charla Football. I'm your host, as always, Gerardo, and there's a lot to talk about. And first off, let's start off with the Ballon d'Oro, because this is the biggest talking point today. Today, the day of this recording, it is Monday. It will be announced within the next few hours. The ceremony should be held within the next hour or so. That either Rodri or Vinicius will be the Ballon d'Oro winner. I think Bellingham's kind of out of contention. I think it is between those two players. I've already said that I think Vinicius does deserve it. I think he's performed exceptionally well at club level. It is a little harsh to not give it to him based off of Brazil's performance in the Copa America, because I mean, not only did Vinicius not perform, but all of Brazil, they did not perform. They haven't brought up any world class coaches either to help the team grow in any way, and I think it is a little difficult to judge, Vinicius off of a poor Brazil squad. But I mean, on the other hand, you have a guy like Rodri who is influential. He is key in Spain's success, in Manchester City's success. And I don't know, there's so many interesting talking points and controversies regarding this whole rumor, because it's not 100% confirmed. Some people are saying that this is actually not true, that everything is sealed tight, that nobody knows the winner besides the event holders. So, I mean, really anything can happen. But I do think that the whole Copa America and Euro point is true. I think international form is key to winning such a prestigious trophy. But if this is true and Vinicius does not win the Ballon d'Oro, is it fair, and is it, I think, kind of petty for Real Madrid to not show up? Because the rumor is that Real Madrid, the only reason I think people are thinking that Vinicius is not one is because everyone's saying that that Real Madrid and Vinicius will not be showing up to the ceremony. And if that is true, is that petty? Even if they don't win anything, should they still be showing up in light of good sportsmanship? They prop themselves up on this pedestal as this senior club, as the example of all clubs. But if you're not winning and you don't show up only because you're not winning, I mean, that seems kind of disrespectful and kind of childish to me. And a lot of people are saying that as well. I don't think this was probably Vinicius's fault. I think it's probably a call from the higher ups in Real Madrid. But I mean, we saw this with Messi and Ronaldo. Even if Ronaldo already knew that Messi was going to win it, Ronaldo would almost always show up to the ceremony knowing that he wasn't going to win the Ballon d'Oro, and vice versa, because there is that respect in sportsmanship. Because at the end of the day, it's football, it's a game, it's not a matter of life and death. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Should Real Madrid, should Vinicius have pulled up to the ceremony by the time of this recording? If they didn't show up, should they have showed up? If they didn't, if they did, then I guess this question doesn't really matter. But let's talk about why Rodri does deserve it if this rumor does fall through. He was key for City in the Premier League. He was key for Spain. There's so much praise from all players, all coaches throughout the world. And I mean, the trophies last season prove it. I mean, he won the Premier League, did win the Euro. And then let's look at some of the numbers: 12 goals, 14 assists. And if we're talking about, I mean, keep in mind that he's also a defensive midfielder. But I mean, if we're talking about how important international trophies are when it comes to these kind of decisions, I mean, remember Modric in 2018 when he won the Ballon d'Oro? He only had 4 goals and 12 assists. And yes, he did take Croatia to the World Cup final for the first time ever. So I think that was very much important in the whole decision of getting him that Ballon d'Oro, as it should be for Rodrigo in this case. And then also why Vinicius probably won't win it, because with Brazil, he wasn't stand out. All of Brazil really fell down. If we really think about it, it's not all on him, but I mean, all great players should be able to be influential at some point for their teams. But let me know what you guys think. Should it be Rodri? Should it be Vinicius? I'm honestly I'm not upset if it's either or. I think both are great candidates. And to be fair, there's not like a standout candidate that's like an clear outright winner when compared for like the times when it was Messi and Ronaldo and we had crazy numbers and crazy individual moments and trophies. Like this isn't the same anymore. So the bar has definitely dropped down a level. It's kind of football starting to balance out and normalize itself a little bit. So I think whoever wins, I think it's honestly deserved. So let me know who you guys think. But yeah, that's kind of my Ballon d'Oro thoughts. I just wanted to bring that up, get your guys' ideas there. And then we're going to talk about the Premier League, move into La Liga, and then Liga MX as well, the best league in the world, we all know. But we got to start with Premier League. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Aston Villa dropping points. Still, I mean, only one loss. I think it was against Arsenal where they lost. But Bournemouth, who have surprisingly done very well, they took points from a fourth place Aston Villa team, like they did to Arsenal just last weekend, beating them 2-0. So Bournemouth, I mean, I think they're doing something interesting with Iraola. This was a good display. They had their chances to maybe even win the game, especially towards the latter end of the match. I mean, those last 10, 15 minutes, they had Villa pinned back. But Villa were clearly the better team throughout from the first minute up until like the 75th, 80th minute. Mark Travers, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, had to come up huge for Aston Villa. No Kepa today for whatever reason. He wasn't even on the bench. I don't know if there's an injury or what's going on over there. But Mark Travers, oh my God, he had probably like 5, 6 world class saves that kept Bournemouth in the game. It's probably the reason Bournemouth at least comes out with the result. He was magnificent, honestly. Like I said, Bournemouth had their chances, but really neither team really took them because it could have been a game where it was 3-3, honestly, and that would have been a lot more interesting than this 1-1. But yeah, just 14 minutes before the end of the match, great determination by Ross Barkley. He gets on the end of Leon Bailey's header, which was coming in from across from Ian Matson, and it was just kind of like scrambled within the 6-yard box. Ross Barkley gets on the end of it, who was subbed on earlier before that. And it was 1-0. Villa were up, and you thought that that was game over because Villa are very good at holding on to their results. But that wasn't the case. It's not until like the very last, like 20, 30 seconds of the match, Bournemouth have a free kick. Tavernier, he puts in this delicious ball into Evan Nilsson, who did not start the match. Also, keep that in mind. Evan Nilsson, the signing from Porto, did not get his fair amount of minutes in the beginning of the match. And as Unal did start, he performed quite well. But Evan Nelson, of course, the deadly striker that he is, he gets ahead to it and makes it 1-1, literally dying moments of the game. And yeah, it's pretty much wrapped up from there. Villa are not going to be too upset about this result. They're still in fourth place, somewhat safe. Bournemouth, I think they're like in 10th, 11th place, flirting with maybe trying to get in those European spots if they keep on pulling off these kind of big performances against the big teams like Aston Villa, like Arsenal. So definitely a team to keep an eye on, Bournemouth for sure. City versus Southampton. This was a big game for City specifically because every game for City is going to be big in the Premier League, given that they need 3 points every single time because Liverpool and Arsenal are going to be chewing and barking right up their ass. This was crucial for City to come out victorious in, especially against a poor Southampton team. And since Arsenal and Liverpool were facing off in the next day as well, and someone was bound to drop points right there, and City definitely could have picked up from that moment right there. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we're not going to talk about the Arsenal versus Liverpool game just yet. I'm going to save that a little bit, but it was key for City to get these 3 points. Holland getting the end of Matheus Nunes' cross, and I mean, typical striker, typical Holland getting in front of his defender. Really not a problem. I think the biggest problem with this game with City specifically is that with all the chances that they had, they never seemed like they were going to get that second goal. I think just a little bit of they were just a little unlucky, if you really want to call it that, even though they were already up 1-0. Um, and it was just an onslaught from City. I mean, I think Southampton had like one chance in the first half, hitting off the crossbar, and pretty much that was it. Southampton were pinned in their own half, in their own box almost. Almost all the players were in the own box. Just an onslaught of chances from City. There was brilliance from Savinho, Haaland, Silva, Foden. All the players were live. They were doing well. They just didn't have that little stroke of luck today to make it 2-3-0 if they really wanted to. They never found anymore, but like Pep's not going to care. He's first place now, given the result that happened with Arsenal and Liverpool. So, but before we get into that, we have a few more results as we're going in order. Let's go to Chelsea versus Newcastle. A 2-1 win for Chelsea, an important win for Chelsea. And first off, I kind of want to say I was wrong. I don't know why I had Chelsea below Manchester United in my prediction at the beginning of the Premier League season. But yeah, I'll hold my hands up. Chelsea have been performing exceptionally. They're one of the most attractive football playing teams so far in the Premier League. And I mean, the pace that they have up front, the quality that they have up front. I mean, I should have thought better, firstly, but I mean, they show that in every single match. Maybe not against Liverpool. Liverpool, I think they did an exceptional job at marking the brain of the whole operation at Chelsea, which is Cole Palmer, kind of keeping him quiet. Um, and that's what happened in that Liverpool game. But against Newcastle, Newcastle did not do the same thing as Liverpool. They did not watch that Liverpool game. Newcastle just gave Cole Palmer space, time, opportunities on the ball. And I mean, when you do that with Cole Palmer, he is capable of changing the game in an instant. And he left his fingerprints literally all over that match. He had an assist, he had a goal, he had a disallowed goal as well. And I mean, this Chelsea attack, when you have Cole Palmer right behind creating for them, Madueke on the right, Pedro Neto on the left, Nico Jackson finishing the chances. It's so sweaty up front. Honestly, it's a sweaty front four. It's dangerous. It's everything you want from a forward line. They have skill, they have pace, they're lethal in front of goal. It's a scary front four to come up against, to be honest. But not if you're Liverpool. Newcastle did not do their job, but we already knew that against guys like Dan Burn, Fabian Schär, Livramento, Lewis Hall, who was kind of better out of the four, um, they were gonna have to be on top of their game and not give Cole Palmer, not give any of these guys space. To be fair, but Cole Palmer being the biggest one, you cannot leave him alone. And I'm going to reiterate that you cannot give him the time to pick his head up, to pick a pass. And it was literally in that I think it was, I don't know how far it was, in the 18th minute. Yes, 18th minute, just a few moments into the first half. Cole Palmer from his own half, he gives this delicious 50, 60-yard ball into Pedro Neto's run, who had acres of space to run in front of him. He takes on his defender, just kind of flicks it in front of his defender. And I mean, he's through on goal. He squares it to Nico Jackson, who's running in all by himself. And I mean, 1-0 from there. In just 3 passes, Chelsea just destroyed Newcastle's defensive line. Newcastle eventually do get their equalizer, and rightfully so. I mean, Newcastle, they have a dangerous target man like Alexander Isak. Lewis Hall puts a good ball into him, and he's not missing from inside of the box. The ball was like right there in front of him to tap in, and he's not going to miss those. It's 1-1, and but I mean, the thing with Chelsea is that they're relentless. They're always striving to get more, 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 and more, and more, and more. And that's exactly what happened. Cole Palmer again in the second half, just a few minutes into the second half. I think 75 seconds to be exactly into the second half. Cole Palmer blasts it into Nick Pope, who should have done a lot better. Kind of goes under him or just didn't get enough of a hand to it. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but um, the problem with this piece of play is Fabian Schär is backing off, giving Cole Palmer all the space that he wants as Cole Palmer is dribbling towards him. He's backing off and he's giving him the left side. I don't know if he wanted him to score or just thought that he wouldn't score. I don't know what he was thinking at all. But yeah, in that case, you cannot give Cole Palmer that kind of space. He did. He blasts it. And yeah, right through Nick Pope, and it's 2-1. Game over. Chelsea with some big 3 points. They are, I think, steady in fourth or fifth place. No, I think it's fifth place because Villa are in fourth. My bad. For Newcastle, honestly, I expected a lot better from them at the beginning of the season. I mean, we know they have a good squad, but I mean, so far it's not enough. I think they're in the lower half of the table, and I mean, given all the money that's been pumping into Newcastle, this whole ideology change, it's just there hasn't been much happening besides them qualifying to the Champions League last year. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if they can fix their act. We'll see what happens with Newcastle. But now going over to the game of the two Uniteds, West Ham United versus Manchester United, a 2-1 win for West Ham. Not surprising given that Manchester United have been pretty poor. Only I think they've only scored 8 goals in 9 games. Offensively, they're so unlucky. Defensively, it's a mess. They create, they just cannot put it away, and that's exactly what happened in this first half for Manchester United. They had opportunity after opportunity, hitting the crossbar twice. Diego Dallo opening missing an open shot. Um, it was honestly with this result, it was the last straw for Ineos, and for Eric Ten Hag, it's officially over. If you guys don't know, well, now you know. Eric Ten Hag has been sacked by Manchester United. He should have been sacked in the summer, not at the beginning of the season, just 11 games into the season. It's very it's a weird time to sack a manager, but yeah, I mean, at least better late than never, right? Eric Ten Hag did win 2 domestic trophies with Manchester United, but in the league, I mean, it's just getting worse and worse, and it's unfortunate for Manchester United, for Manchester United fans. Such a big club obviously deserve to be fighting for the Premier League every single year. Um, but they have not been able to find that Fergie replacement since 2012, 2013. It's just been a struggle. And we'll see who they bring in. There's rumors of Xavi, there's rumors of Julian Nagelsmann. Both of them seem like good options, at least better to what they've had at least. Right now, Van Nistelrooy will be taking over. Maybe he can do a great job. We'll see what happens with Rude. But yeah, West Ham just took advantage of this opportunity because I mean, against Manchester United, it feels like anybody can beat them or anybody can get a result from them. Just ask for Fenerbahce. But it was a battle between 13th and 14th in this matchup, and this is also unfortunate to my prediction because I thought they were going to be a lot higher up. I thought Manchester United were going to be fighting for fourth, West Ham possibly fifth or fourth as well. Yeah, I look like a fucking idiot in those predictions, but it is what it is. It's football. Anything can really happen. Um, the truth is that in this match, while Eric Ten Hag can blame the ref and the players can blame the ref, and maybe that penalty should have been a penalty, the 2-1 it could have not been a penalty. Um, Manchester United had everything to make it 2, 3, 4, 5-0 if they wanted to in the first half, and the problem is their consistency up front. They don't have any, and if you're not putting your chances away against a team like West Ham or against anybody, I mean, in European football, they're eventually going to score on you. It's very hard when you're coming up against quality oppositions. Somerville scoring his first goal in the Premier League against Manchester United, what a shocker! And then Jared Bowen getting the penalty, converting the penalty. Casemiro did score for Manchester United to draw the game, but I mean, while it was a deserved goal, I mean, they should have done more if you're Manchester United, but big ups to West Ham. They got the 3 points at home, which was much needed for them for Lopetegui because he looked like the next one out. If it's not Eric Ten Hag, it looked like Lopetegui, given the money that West Ham have spent on, I mean, completely rebuilding a squad. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Eric Ten Hag, where he goes. I think he's already on his jet back to the Netherlands, and who Ineos decide to appoint next because they're going to need to figure this out quickly. But we'll see how it goes with Ruud van Nistelrooy as well. And then the biggest match in the Premier League, the Arsenal versus Liverpool game, the 2-2 draw. I think the biggest winner in this match is obviously Manchester City. I don't think anyone can deny that. They are now 1 point clear of Liverpool and like 3 or 5 clear of Arsenal. And I mean, when it's little margins like that, it's still very difficult. to overcome something like that against a Manchester City team who are not gonna really drop points against anybody in the Premier League. But it's a fair result given how the game went. Both teams had their opportunity. Arsenal had a brilliant first half of football. Liverpool just looked like they were not in the match whatsoever, which is really weird because this Liverpool team, I mean, compared to a Klopp team where the Liverpool are just relentless and they just create opportunity after opportunity. This team's a little bit more pragmatic, their approach a little bit more balanced, a little bit level-headed as well. Um, but going to the first half, Arsenal uh, were brilliant. Like I said, I think it was Mikel Merino who made it 2-1. I forgot who scored the first goal. Oh, Bukayo Saka on his return, scoring his 50th goal for Arsenal in the Premier League. And what a way to get it as well. And they were up 2-1, even though I think Liverpool did tie it from a corner kick from Virgil. Yeah, Virgil van Dijk getting on the header and 1-1 there. Then Mikel Merino makes it 2-1 before the end of the half. And you thought that was a key moment for Arsenal to get the lead before the end of the half. But I mean, while it was a key moment, I guess they didn't really take advantage of that moment going into the second half because I think Arsenal are traumatized given that they always play. I mean, they've gone 3 matches playing with 10 men. It looked like they were playing with 10 men again. They just kind of forgot to attack. They started to focus on defense to hold on to the result a little bit and see what they can get on the counter. And Liverpool really never gave them anything. Defensively, they were very solid. And then in the few opportunities that Liverpool created, they found the goal. I think it was like in the 70 something minute where Trent Alexander Arnold, he releases Darwin Nunez. He squares it into Mohamed Salah, who has an open net to finish into. And yeah, Mohamed Salah ties the game, and that's a fair result, 2-2. Um, I think it's a bigger result for Liverpool because they're only 1 point away from City, and I don't think they've played City just yet. Um, versus Arsenal City, they've already faced off each other, and there's a bigger gap between third and first. So yeah, bigger result for Liverpool. I don't think they're gonna be too mad with a draw, but maybe could have done a lot better in getting a win for sure. But Arsenal, what the fuck was that in that second half? You guys performed so well in the beginning. And Arsenal fans, let me know how you feel because I mean, in that second half, like I said, they looked traumatized. They looked like they were playing with 10 men again. Do you agree that there's something going on when they're when they have everything to outperform any team in the Premier League? It's like they kind of crawl back into their shell. Um, what needs to change? Is it the mentality? Is it the tactics? Let me know, please. And that kind of wraps up the big talking points in the Premier League. Let's move to La Liga. We already talked about El Clasico. If you haven't watched that um, match review, please look at the just look in the videos. It's like the video right before this one. A great video, by the way. So make sure you check that out, like it as well. I would appreciate it. Um, but the second biggest match was Real Betis versus Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid, who have they've been poor. They got a lot. They lost against Lille 1-0 at the Wanda Metropolitano during the week, and then now they were facing Real Betis, who are a brilliant team under Manuel Pellegrini. We already know that they're always fighting for European League, for Europa League. Sorry, and they've gotten off to a decent start. I believe now they're in fifth place, looking for that fourth place spot. I think Atletico still are just in fourth place. Betis handing Atletico Madrid their second loss in a row in all competitions. The last time that happened was back in April when they got eliminated from the Champions League against Borussia Dortmund and then lost in La Liga against Deportivo Alaves. So, been a while since Atletico have been that happened to them. But also, I mean, I don't remember the last time Betis beat Atletico Madrid. But I mean, this was a game that shouldn't have been 1-0 to Betis, should have been 6-0. Honestly, it was poor from Atletico Madrid, who, I mean, we attribute defensive um, solidarity from a team like like Cholo's team, like Cholo's Atletico Madrid. They're always defensively very solid, and I mean we have not seen that whatsoever. Axel Witzel and Chema Jimenez as your starting center backs in 2024. I mean, talk about a lack of pace, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, Real Betis are nothing but pure pace in the front when you have Abde on the left, Vitor Roque running behind the lines, Pablo Fornals also getting in there. And yeah, I mean, only one opportunity was what Betis needed to make the game 1-0 in the first 4 minutes of the match. A little luck from Abde to, I think he crosses the ball and Chema Jimenez gets on the end of it accidentally. It's an own goal and it's the only goal of the game. But like I said, it really could have been 5-6-0 for Betis if they were a lot more lethal in front of goal. And also, it's good to see Vitor Roque seeing him get minutes to be a starter in La Liga for a big team like Betis, and then putting up performances like he has been. I mean, it was a good performance, although he did have a few misses. Um, the opportunities that he created for himself. Eventually, he's gonna find the net. I think he already has a couple goals under his belt for Betis. So life in Sevilla starting off well for him, but on the other hand, life for Atletico Madrid is just it's going down. And for Atleti fans, I mean, there's a 10-point gap between first and now wherever you guys are at, either in third or fourth. I think it's fourth because Villarreal are in third after their win against Valladolid. So for Atletico Madrid, I don't think there's any way you come back from that. I mean, I think El Cholo Simeone really needs to figure out this whole defensive line, figure out their attack as well, because I mean, it looks like it's just Julian Alvarez all by himself up front. If it's not him and Sorloth up top, and then Sorloth is missing his clear cut chances. Griezmann is probably the biggest creator, but I mean, he's 33 years old. He just can't do everything like he used to anymore. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Atleti. I think this winter market will be crucial because I mean, in the summer, they went through this whole rebuild, bringing in a bunch of great players, but I think they forgot the most important part because they only signed one defender in Lenormand, but he got injured. So now they're forced to use the same back line with Witzel, with Aspilicueta, with Chema, and they need someone that's faster than all three of them combined because right, those three are just it's a lack of pace, especially when you're coming up against some quick attacking front three like Real Betis. But I mean, when you have to face against Barcelona, Real Madrid, I mean, you need quality and pace at the same time. So they need to definitely look for someone in the winter transfer market that is quick, high IQ, and that can definitely replace one of these three. And as far as league standing goes, I think it's Barcelona's La Liga to lose. They are clear of Atleti. They are now 6 points clear of Real Madrid. And while that is a substantial difference, I mean, they just need to be consistent in the league and they will win it. If they win out their games or, I mean, drop a few, like a loss and a few draws, it'll be fine. But, I mean, given how Real Madrid is performing as well, I think they will probably drop some points. So, yeah, we'll see what happens in this La Liga. Going to Serie A, I just want to talk about the Derby d'Italia. An incredible result, 4-4 draw. I mean, I wish I saw every moment of this match because it was just goals, and that's what you want to see as a neutral fan. I got my Napoli shirt on right here as they lead the league in first place. This was a big game for Napoli too. I mean, they since Inter and Juventus draw, and they're the biggest front runners and title contenders as well. Inter Milan in second, Juventus in third, and they both drop points. So it's huge for Napoli. This result gives them a little bit more of separation between first and second. It is Napoli slowly running away in first. They are now 4 points ahead of Inter, who are in second. So this is a good sign for Napoli. But I mean, as a neutral, just an incredible game to watch. For the first quarter of the game, first 25 minutes, there was already three goals. The Americans, Timothy Weah and Weston McKinney, heavily involved in Juventus's attack, in Juventus's two goals. Inter Milan, I think they did go up first, if I'm not mistaken. There was a penalty that Turan put away, but yeah, quickly Juventus reacted. They came back, and that's what I like about this Juventus team. They don't put their head down. The mentality is kind of that whole gear is switched. It's changed, and they look like they are world beaters. They can play anybody, beat anybody, even if they don't have world class quality like Juventus teams of the past. But I mean, this team, the mentality that Thiago Motta has instilled into this team, especially against a really good Inter Milan team. It's not just any team. These are UEFA Champions League runners up. These are the current champions of Serie A. I mean, this Inter Milan team, they are one of the best teams in the world. So to do it against Juventus, to come back not only just once but twice against them, because Inter Milan then went up to be up in the scoreline like 4-2 or something like that. Yeah, it was 4-2 towards like the last 20, 30 minutes of the match. And then Yildiz, the Turkish international, I mean, he's loving life in Turin. He's playing the best football of his life. And he got two goals in a short span amount of time. I think it was the last like 10 minutes of the game. And yeah, he completely changes the game. He ties it 4-4. And it's just an impeccable game of football. So, I mean, if you missed it, please go watch the highlights. Even watching the highlights, I was getting off of my seat, especially Yildiz's goals. I mean, just quality. He just oozes quality. And Inter Milan, I mean, while they did, I think they got another penalty in the second half. Jelinski put it away. Just I think it was a fair result. Given the opportunities and the consistency in front of goal, it was there. I mean, just class game to watch, a high level of intensity, great game to watch from a neutral perspective. So go check out those highlights for sure. Um, Now we go to the best league in all of world football, the Mexican League, Liga MX, where there were some surprising results. Chivas dropping points, not so surprising results. Cruz Azul getting a win, Toluca getting a win, and then America, they're slowly finding their way back into those playoff spots. I think right now they're still in repechaje spots, but they're crawling. They're crawling, even though it looked like they weren't gonna make it. They were flirting with possibly getting out. I mean, we'll talk about all of that right now. It's a Chivas team who have been, I mean, they hadn't lost in the last two games. The midweek game against Necaxa, they looked like prime Barcelona or whatever. They looked impeccable in like 10, 15 minutes. They changed the game from losing 1-0. I mean, or no, was it 1-0? I mean, they were losing, or I don't exactly remember, but I just remember yeah, they were losing. At the start of the game, they were losing, but Chivas quickly switched. Cade Cowell gets on the score sheet, Victor Guzman gets on the score sheet, and Ricardo Marin with the beautiful, I mean, Pushkas contender finish with the back heel, and then Yael Padilla, the youngster who didn't get a lot of opportunities under Fernando Gago, now is reaping, I mean, minutes and opportunities under Arturo Ortega. And he's performing exceptionally. He got two assists in that game against Necaxa. And I mean, you thought Chivas were flying, and then I mean, given the whole storyline with Gago leaving and Boca Juniors not performing well, they have lost their last two games. I mean, everything was great in Guadalajara, but then they go off to face Puebla, managed by a very familiar face in Chepo de la Torre, who obviously, if you all know or if you don't know, he won Chivas one of their recent league titles back in 2005, 2006. I don't remember exactly. He also saved them from the Censo. So uh yeah, it was a familiar face, and then also Chepo de la Torre was the one to give Chivas their loss in this matchup against Puebla. Puebla, who haven't been, I mean, they've been pretty poor. They're I think in like 12th, 13th place. I don't think they're gonna make it into Liga, but I'm pretty sure they don't want to lose the rest of the last three games. So it was important for them to get a win, at least trying to build something for the next season. And then for Chivas, I mean, they need to get their wins too, because they can possibly head to, I mean, they could possibly get eliminated if they start to pick up a bad form towards this end of the season. Could be bad for Chivas. Um, yeah, they completely shocked Guadalajara. They take down the Mexican Giants. This is the second time Puebla take away points from the two biggest teams in Mexico, and America and Chivas. They beat America not so long ago, and now beating Chivas 1-0 as well. I mean, big ups to Puebla. They're doing things somewhat right. I don't think it started off right, but now with Chepo de la Torre at the helm, I think they can build something interesting going into the next season. Chivas, they need to get their act together, especially towards these next three games. That's going to be crucial for them if they want to stay in the top 6, 7 of the Liga MX. And then going to Cruz Azul versus Pumas, a 2-0 result for Cruz Azul. They got off to a historic start in the first 25 seconds. Angel Sepulveda gets on the end of a cross from Rotondi. I mean, Rotondi, one of the best players in Liga MX, one of the best players under Anselmi at Cruz Azul, puts in a beautiful ball into Angel Sepulveda, who slots away his seventh goal in 6 starts. And it's just crazy to think about Angel Sepulveda. I mean, at 33 years old, he went from okay spells at Querétaro. And I mean, you haven't heard much from him in recent Liga MX seasons. Then under Anselmi in Cruz Azul, I mean, it's just Anselmi has this magic touch. He's been able to get the best out of his players. I mean, 7 goals and 6 starts is, I mean, those were very good numbers for a striker like Angel Sepulveda at 33 years old. He now becomes the top goal scorer the top Mexican goal scorer in Liga MX above Henry Martin. So I mean, if I'm Vasco Aguirre and people are making me call up Henry Martin, I mean, why not call up Angel Sepulveda or at least look at him too? I mean, he's performing well, right? And he is the leading goal scorer in the league. He's Mexican. He's around the same age as Henry Martin, maybe a little bit taller, better finishing. I think Henry Martin, um, he has a little bit of inconsistencies in front of goal. I think his play with his back to goal is a lot better than Angel Sepulveda's. I think he's better at associating himself with his midfielders and his forwards. But Angel Sepulveda, he's been a killer in front of goal this season, and he's proven it. So it's a great start for for La Máquina, and especially for Angel Sepulveda. I mean, he got the start today. I think last game against Bravos, he came off the bench. He scored a brace. So, I mean, picking of those numbers, especially towards the end of this latter half of the season, going into Liguilla, this is very important for Cruz Azul to not drop form. I think they've gone like 6 games unbeaten, and since their loss against Atletico San Luis. So, this is great form for Cruz Azul heading into Liguilla, and it's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous team. They look like they're going to make history, or at least recent Liga MX history, because I don't remember the time when, because if they win the next 3 matches, they're going to be ending in like 45 points with 45 points in at the top of the table. I don't remember a team getting 45 points. The last time a team got close was Cruz Azul when they won the Guardianes back in 2020, 2021, I believe. And they had 41 points. They ended Liga MX in 41 with 41 points. So I think they're definitely cruising like they did in this game against Pumas. Because even in the 11th minute, I think it was um, Lorenzo Faravelli, that gets the goal for Cruz Azul, makes it 2-0, and it was just cruise control for them. So yeah, they're just cruising in this business end of the season, and hopefully in Liga we can see them produce some history as well. And then another team in Toluca who is doing exceptionally well on a great run of form as well. 5 games without a loss. I think just one draw and the rest are wins. They beat out Necaxa, no problem. They were 3-0 up, I think, within the hour mark or so. The biggest talking point is Jesus Angulo, a player that I've already highlighted on this channel before. Jesus Angulo, he's quality. He is just the number 10. He's probably the best number 10, along with Piojo Alvarado in Liga MX, for sure. I mean, and his hat trick today against Necaxa proves it. Necaxa are not an easy team to beat. Ask America. They drew against them. And now in the same place where Necaxa got a result against America, Toluca just went there, did whatever they wanted with them. Um, and I mean, talk about a Toluca team who is very consistent in front of goal. Yes, they have the defensive frailties, but they've kind of recovered that in the last like few weeks. They've been doing a lot better. I think they've gone to this back five, which makes them look a little bit more solid. And then the front line of Isaías Violante, Paulinho, Canulo right behind them, Marcelo Ruiz kind of holding things down. I mean, they're very difficult to play against. They are very fluid going forward. And I mean, Canulo gets a banger in the first few minutes, and then 2 opportunities inside of the box. He puts them away. I mean, just class finishes, and it's 3-0 up. Canelo gets his hat trick. And I really think this player deserves to go to the Mexican national team. 27 years old. He is in his prime. He's in peak form. By the time the World Cup comes around, he will be 29. So why not have a player like him, a offensive, creative player like Angulo, who can create opportunities, who can finish off opportunities. He's deadly inside of the box. He has a cannon of a left foot as well. He was with Jimmy at the Olympics back in 2020 when they won bronze, but really didn't get the opportunities that I feel like he might have deserved. But now with Atoluca, he's just way better player, 100%. Just I think he deserves the opportunity at international level. And yeah, I mean, he is one of the best players of this team. And then same thing goes for Isaias Violante, is an academy product. And there is the regla de menores. Toluca have to play young players, and he's one of them, 21 years old, who has been stepping up. And I think he has like 4 goals, 4 assists in the season. He got 2 assists in this game, and he's just everything that you want from a winger. He's pacey, he's skillful, good at dribbling, has great finishing qualities as well. Can pick a pass out. I mean, I don't know if he deserves an international first team call up, but I mean, no, he does deserve it, but I don't know if they will pick him out given that he's 21. But I don't know. It just was weird. Mexican international, uh, the whole governing body, they're just weird, honestly. They wouldn't take a 21-year-old, but they'll take a 33-year-old that's probably not going to play in 2026. I don't know. Anyways, so look, I get their win, second place. They're pretty much safe, and I think a lot of people are expecting a Cruz Azul versus Toluca matchup at some point in Liga, and that'd be amazing to see. If it was even the final, shit, I'd be more than happy with that too. So let me know if you guys want to see that. What's your dream Liga MX final? Last team that we're going to talk about is America versus Monterrey. America getting a 2-1 win. Monterrey that never showed up in this game. America were the better team, but they weren't really finding their opportunities. They weren't creating enough. It took a fat mistake from Fidel Ambris, who was subbed on in the second half. Demichelis made 3 substitutes at the second half for whatever reason, maybe trying to get a little bit something from his forwards. Fidel Ambris, within like the first few minutes of the second half, with the first ball that he touches, he tries to play a ball into Victor Guzman. Just horrible pass. I don't know if he thought that he would reach it or maybe he just overhit it. I don't know exactly what happened with Fidel Ambris, and it's sad to see. I mean, he was doing so well for Leon, and then he comes to Monterrey, and then he hasn't really been able to find his feet there. And yeah, then he puts a pass like this, goes into Brian Rodriguez, who's 1-on-one with Andrada, and I mean, Brian Rodriguez in front of goal, he puts it away, no problem. It's 1-0. And you thought that was pretty much it, given that Monterrey weren't producing nothing. They never showed up in this match whatsoever. But then Jordi Cortizo, another substitute from the Michelis, he finds the ball outside of the box. He blasts it. While it seems like it's under control, Malagon, I don't know what he did. I mean, the best goalkeeper in Liga MX, there's no doubt about it. Um, he had a horror save. Not a horror show. He had a pretty good performance, but in one lapse of concentration, uh, yeah, Monterrey tied up, and you think, oh shit, this is where America dropped points, and it's. I don't want to say it's over for America, but it's going to be very difficult. There's going to be a lot of pressure with the next 3 games. But no, literally, the reaction was insane. Alvaro Fidalgo on his comeback. Um, we already know that Alvaro Fidalgo, he's a quality player, the Spaniard. Um, they call him El Maguito because he's the difference maker for America in the midfield. And I mean, no Jonathan Dos Santos either. I mean, they needed somebody to step up, and Fidalgo did just that. There was the ball that Henry Martin was holding on to. Fidalgo's just sprinting past Henry Martin on the outside of the box. Henry Martin holding off 2 defenders. He just rolls it back into the path of Fidalgo, who takes it on the byline and then somehow gets it through the legs of Andrada, and then it just kind of finds its way into the back of the net just a few minutes after Monterrey tied it up. And yeah, just the reaction saved America. Fidalgo saved America in his return back from injury. I think he missed like the last 2 games or so. And America are looking a lot better now that their players are coming back from injury, now that they are in the business half of the season, the business end of the season. They're looking like they're stepping up. And yeah, America performed the way they needed to. They're getting the results. I think they are in ninth place, still in repechaje spots, but tied in points with Chivas, who are in eighth place. So they can overtake Chivas if they really wanted to, and now push Chivas out of Liga. So it's going to be a very dramatic end to the season. 3 games left, so make sure you guys keep an eye out on those matches. We will definitely keep an eye out on this channel. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, check out all the links below. Help us grow this page as much as we can. And I will see you guys on the next one. If you enjoyed, like I said, please like and subscribe. Peace out.